Hi, everybody, and welcome to this month's installment of What's My House Worth? My name is Rob Ticktin. This is Ryan McDonnell. We are realtors with Hawthorn Properties. We also don't have a lot to talk about over the course of the next 30 minutes, but we're going to do the best we can to keep you entertained. Ryan, why don't you explain to everybody why we really don't have a lot to talk about?
Because not a lot happened in the month of February, Rob. This might be the month where we officially jump the shark on this show.
If it hasn't happened already.
Right.
We've been doing the show for 6 years now, and I don't think we've ever had a month where we've had a single-digit number of sales, correct?
Yeah.
So we're breaking new ground here. It's either going to be really fun, or you will have changed the channel shortly.
Yeah, we're going to make 9 sales really thorough.
Right, by repeating words just like that. So let's start the show off like we typically do. We're going to be, of course, reviewing the month of, Ryan?
February, Rob.
Not my favorite word to say because of that sneaky little R, but again, as you look at that slide, there are the 9 sales, and look at the other information. What do you see there, Ryan?
I mean, it's holding up from a number standpoint. I mean, the 9 sales are what they are. Last month we had 18. Last year we had 12 in February.
Okay.
Our average sale price of $1.12 million, Rob. That's pretty consistent. Last month was 1.27.
Right, but just 9 sales, a wide array from the smallest to the biggest, right?
We did have we had a little teensy one and we had a big seller. So, and by the way, off to a good start for 2018 with already having a $2 million sale.
That's
not
right.
bad.
That's right.
But anyway, so our percentage is 97.5 of your list price. That's your sale price. Of original list, we're at 95.9. Those aren't bad, especially this time of year.
No, yeah, for sure.
So I think there's some positive data there. Your average days on market of 67. We were 68 last month. Last year at this time we were 96. So things are moving in the right direction toward a busy spring.
Right, and of the 9 sales, just really 7 of those were houses that were being conveyed.
Right.
There were 2 land sales in there, which makes
it
it more challenging.
Makes our job even harder.
But the month of
February
is the hardest one for us to do a show because it's always the lowest. So let's take a look at that month and see how it's done over the last 6 years. And yeah, I mean, consistent up until this year.
Yeah.
We could have used a leap year this year for sure.
No, don't kid. We would have maybe squeezed out 1 or 2 more deals. I mean, Needham, if nothing else, Needham is very consistent year over year in terms of its sales units.
Right, correct. Not necessarily consistent when you talk about the graph over the last 6 years. We know it does trend this way.
The next graph, actually.
But I know.
Yeah,
I was getting
not
to
that graph.
Right, of course. So I guess let's just look at the next graph and you'll see what I'm trying to say. It's upward. There is a little spike there in the middle. I don't know what was going on in 15.
Yeah. We're always so surprised when we look at the historical graphs, like, oh my God, but like in 2015, how come I don't remember being that surprised?
Well, I looked. There were 2 sales that month out of the, whatever it was, 11 or 12 that were over 2.2 million.
Okay, there you have it.
So take those 2 out, and otherwise that would be a fairly straight line. But we're going to have a little bit more on that trend, probably a lot more on that trend a little bit later in the show. So that's something to keep watching for. Now that we've talked more than we should have on that topic, why don't we move on to the other ones, as in the 9 sales. We're going to start low, work our way up, and hit a couple of deals of the months along the way. But let's go over to High Rock, right alongside the...
Oh, there's a deal of the month. See, I wanted to get mine out in case people got bored and turned the channel.
Smart,
so
right?
I'm leading off with the deal of the month. And, I mean, mostly because this is 239 High Rock. This is right next to the train tracks on High Rock, which aren't really train tracks anymore, but they used to be. Mm-hmm. And it's $500,000 for 16,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, that's a good price for a lot of land.
Yeah, I mean, the power lines are still in the vicinity, but the train is obviously not there anymore. And yeah, it's on High Rock, busy road, but 16,000 square feet is a lot. And $500,000, relatively speaking, is a little. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that this is a good deal for the buyer. I mean, we only had 9 to choose from. This, in my opinion, was the best deal out there. It's definitely going to be a land sale. I wouldn't say definitely, but it's all signs are pointing to that. Mm-hmm. And $500,000 for 16,000 square feet. I mean, High Rock's a little bit of a busy road, but still, Rob, I think this is a good deal for the buyer.
All right, very good. Well, you're certainly not going to find a much lower price for that much land, regardless of where it is. And as we know, there are some people, when they're looking at lots to buy, land is everything, and they want to have a lot of it. And 16,000 square feet's no joke.
And we've met how many people that are looking for new construction, want to be in Needham, and are just sort of turned away because of the cost prohibitiveness of the land. So the house is going to cost what it costs to build, but if you're only paying $500,000 for the land, your budget was 1.5.
Now you got that much more money to spend on building the house.
Right, and if you can get past the fact that okay, I'm on High Rock or I'm next to where some train tracks were and there's some power lines. Okay, you're getting a discount because of that, but now you can get the house that you wanted.
Yep.
So.
All right, there you go.
That's how I would look at it.
Great job. Well played.
Thank you.
High Rock is a busier street, as is our next location, which is Greendale Avenue. I'm sure all our viewers know that street. This one is 649 Greendale Avenue, and you're looking here at five price reductions, Ryan, before finally selling, which would explain the 174 days on market.
Yeah, and one of those price reductions was the nominal $1,000 price reduction.
Right, just to flag it so everybody would see it again.
What can you say? It went out at $750. That was obviously ill-advised. I think this is, it says it's a 1,500 square foot house. It's actually a 1,200 square foot house because they're including some basement square footage in there. It is what it is. If you already have location not necessarily working in your favor, you can't compound that by overpricing, because then you're staring down the barrel of 174 days on market, multiple price drops, and an irritated seller. So I think this is, we live in a really strong real estate town as far as the market is concerned, but the demand is always going to be there, and the demand for this house would have definitely been there if it were priced properly out of the gates.
$599.
Yeah.
Per se.
Or
God,
imagine, I was going to say, imagine if they priced it at $549, probably would have sold it in a weekend, probably would have gotten the same number, and maybe not had to deal with any contingencies or anything like that.
How about the sprinkler system never used?
Yeah.
Do you think they regret that purchase? Also, the interesting caveat there was also buyer responsible for verifying all information contained in this listing.
Yeah.
There
were a couple of red flags in there.
Well, that's just, I don't know. That's like, I can see in 5 years every listing sheet saying that, because why not? Because then it exonerates you for any mistake there may be.
Or why go through the motions of doing the listing? Why not just say, all right, look, here's the house, this is the address.
Right.
You do all the work.
Or do a listing sheet and just make a bunch of stuff up and then put that on there. Like the sprinkler system's never been used.
Yeah.
All 51 Pershing Road is the next listing, and I think we're back to a land sale, Ryan.
Yes, this one, our office sold this property. This is a 500 square foot house, Rob.
Yeah, that's tiny, right?
Yeah, it's the smallest single family home that we've dealt with in our careers.
It's a show of firsts.
Yeah. So there was one that was like 580 square feet that was, I think, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But nothing this small.
Yeah.
And a big lot, 27,000 plus square feet.
Yeah, that is big. On a quiet street.
Yeah, dead end street. It's right next to new construction. You're going to see something built here. Probably, if I had to guess, it's going to be bigger than 500 square feet, but that is not confirmed.
That's bold.
Yeah. So, all right, but for $692,500.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a fair price.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, it's a big lot, quiet street. You really can do whatever you want.
Maybe that should be the fair deal of the month.
Yeah. That's the everybody wins deal of the month.
We love those.
Yeah.
All right, 136 Brookline Street is the next listing. We are now into the Mitchell School District. In fact, this house is basically across the street from Mitchell. 4 second-floor bedrooms in this bad boy.
Yeah, but they really mashed them in there.
Yeah, I know.
Two
and two of them have
were
electric.
small.
And two of them have electric baseboard heat.
Yeah, 2 of those upstairs bedrooms were teensy.
That's twice you've used the word teensy this episode, by the way.
A little dated, but a nice interior, fully move-intoable.
Yeah, good square footage.
My only thing that I would do if I bought this house, the first thing that I would do is take the deck down.
Okay.
They have a big deck.
Okay.
So there's a 3 seasons, a screen porch.
Yeah.
Then there's this massive deck.
I'm with you.
I feel like it takes up a lot of the otherwise not that big yard. I think I would do a small landing down to an ample, generous patio, but you would cut the square footage that's encompassed by this structure in half.
Thank you for the encompassed reference. Are you more of a deck guy or a patio guy?
I like a good. Don't get me wrong. I like a good deck that, especially when it's a level transition deck, which this one is.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this yard isn't that big, and this deck is enormous.
Yeah. Right.
So you could get this all you need is a space for grill, seating, a table, chairs, and then anything else on a deck is kind of. Extra.
Yeah.
What else are you doing up there?
I don't know, plantings?
Calisthenics?
Yeah, potentially.
So, you can get that out of a patio and have a lot more yard. That's what I would do.
Okay.
If I were the new owners of 136 Brookline.
It's an interesting comp, 136 Brookline with the next listing, which is 203 Lindbergh Avenue, which, if memory serves, I think was that's my deal of the month. That's kind of a cool picture. Like
Yeah.
I like a bright blue sky with a few puffy white clouds, but that's, if nothing else, a little ominous.
Right, I was gonna say it looks like a storm's brewing.
Yeah, I know, and a storm had been brewing for that seller because it took so long to sell because
Yeah.
it was on the market. Well, it was overpriced, obviously, out of the gate, and another one with 5 price drops.
Yep.
9 listings and 2 of them with 5 price drops. I tell you what, maybe that's the storm that's coming. A lot of ominous signs here. Anyway, it is my deal of the month for the seller, and the reason is I think this house needed a lot. It was a lot of wallpaper, very dated, very choppy layout. It's a lot of money to spend, over $800,000. I think the buyer of this house, probably is coming in with a budget of over $1 million because it's going to require, anywhere from honestly $100,000 to $400,000, depending on what you want to do with this thing. $400,000 might be a little high. Let's say $100,000 to $300,000. But nevertheless, needs a lot of work. One thing that was interesting is there were 4 additional rooms with this house that were not counted with the square footage because they weren't necessarily attached to the house. So we're talking about a funky layout. It is a walk-to-town location, does have some things going for it, close to the high school, walk to basically all the schools. But I thought all in all, getting $829 for this listing was a good deal for the seller because, in my opinion, I don't know that it was, $30,000 better than the Brookline listing that we just looked at. So for those reasons, Ryan, 203 Lindbergh is my deal of the month.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think that those 4 adjoining rooms, it's a great detached home office.
Yes,
right?
but
or potentially an au pair suite of
all
some
those
sort.
things, but they need to be worked on a little bit
for
before
sure.
brought up to.
For sure, and you are on the corner of Webster also.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, conveniently located as far as high school for sure, Needham Heights,
Yeah.
those sorts of things.
What I won't miss is that real estate sign disguised as a flagpole. The thing.
But I think that was the original
agreed.
agent sign. The agent who sold the house, that she didn't have that.
That was interesting.
She didn't have the periscope sticking up over the fence.
It's maybe we should start taking pictures of interesting sign placements. That could be a new segment for the show, right?
Only for our February shows, though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We don't have anything else to do.
All right, next listing is over on Forest Street, 90 Forest Street. Some nice pictures on this listing that have mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah,
if you look in this in MLS.
Gone. Yeah, trying to refresh my memory on Forest this morning. And to no avail.
Well, don't worry because
we've really meticulously got the exterior of the house down, but for the inside, it's lost to memory.
Well, it was a pretty cool house, and I did like how they had so much parking because it is on Forest. So you want to, if you have company, you got plenty of room.
That's a good point
for your guests, and
kudos to the agent for highlighting that too.
Yeah.
Because, like as you mentioned, the Forest, you're not parking on the street.
No.
So that's and we've had some houses where we've talked about that.
Well, we've had houses with tandem driveways on Forest.
Yeah, so that's a good point by you and listing agent.
Well, thank you on behalf of the listing agent, and thank you on behalf of me. 13,000 square foot lot, built in 1931. Assessed value on that one, $952, Ryan.
That'll change, right?
Yeah, that'll go up.
In
So their
3 years.
taxes are heading north.
Yeah.
But we, however,
Good sized lot too, right? Like 13,000 or so.
Yeah, I touched on that.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. At least one of us is paying attention.
Exactly. I think we have a former celebrity listing on the next one, don't we?
Yeah,
359 Grove Street.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so
if I'm not
too.
mistaken.
I thought so, but then I looked at the public record.
Same
I didn't
with
see the
me.
name, and I started to question.
Me too.
So
but
do we
why
keep it in
not?
our back pocket?
Keep it in your back pocket.
All right, forget it. But let's look at the listing anyway. 359 Grove Street is the next listing.
It's a
and,
soccer home, we'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, okay. A former soccer player's maybe home.
But I mean, this one, so I think you were starting to say, sold 2014 for 1.25. Mm-hmm. Then some work went into it. Actually, really nice renovations went into that house.
Agreed.
New kitchen.
One level.
Single level. One thing I did notice, well, it has a finished finished lower level.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'm going to take all of that back. There is a second floor. The second floor is just really, really standard. Like it wasn't part of the renovation.
Okay.
There's 2 bedrooms up there.
Okay.
A little dated.
All right.
But one thing I did notice in there, which I want to touch on, maybe not appropriate for this forum, but the powder room that was off of the kitchen family room. It's like right in the middle, like the transition between kitchen family room. It has a barn door.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That doesn't bother me.
I mean, how much privacy do you get with a barn door?
Well, you can still lock a barn door from the
It's
inside.
fine, but I mean, it doesn't give you the same. I mean, it's
Really?
not a tight, closed fit, doors shut.
Right.
I don't know.
right.
Just that was just something that jumped out at me.
Well, as long as it looks nice.
It did look nice. I mean, the barn door's cool, and it went with the kind of the decor.
Right.
So maybe
Okay.
nobody uses that bathroom. There is another first floor powder room, so maybe that's the one that gets used.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's too bad we can do a poll on how people feel about barn doors on powder rooms.
Well, we can poll the studio audience.
All right, we'll do that after the show. Next up, actually, we should do it during the show. Next up is
Wouldn't change anything.
we're climbing quickly. I think we're on our eighth. We're on our eighth house. Oh goodness. 159 Mark Tree Road is the next listing.
Wait, slow down.
Sorry.
Slow
Let
down.
me try that again. Ready? 159 Mark Tree Road.
Okay.
Is our next listing. Ryan.
Big lot, 38,000 square feet, Rob.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about this is as you can see from the picture, the garage is positioned sort of sideways and it's pointed towards the street.
I can see that.
But what they've done is there are two entrances to this house. If you're looking at this picture, the casual entrance is to the right of the garage, and then there's the front door, which is as you walk up the driveway, up the steps into the front of the house. But they're like,
Which appears to be like 6 feet away.
well, they're not even. They almost, if you were both walking out of the doors at the same time, you would probably have a collision on the front porch.
Okay, but fair enough. But if you have a choice between just a front door or having that second door, why not take it?
I guess.
Why not?
Well, because they enter into this the same spot.
Well, no, one enters into the mudroom, the other one enters in the foyer.
But you could enter the mudroom through the garage. Perhaps, which I'm sure you do also. But again,
Yeah.
nitpicking.
Only in this episode.
Right.
Only in this episode.
Right. But I liked the house.
I did. I did too. It was a nicely finished house. I thought they did a really nice job with it.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
It was those things. They had the one thing that I may throw out to you.
Okay. I won't tell anyone.
When you walk into the master suite,
Yep.
it's one of these deals where it's kind of a long, like here, like the door from the hallway. Then it's a decent interior hallway
Yes.
into the actual bedroom.
Yes.
And along the way, you pass the bathroom and the closet.
Right.
So I ask you, which order would you like to see that? It goes hallway, then blank blank bedroom.
Right.
What would you prefer?
I think my preference would be to have probably closet bathroom.
Me too.
Right.
So this one had bathroom closet.
Okay.
So I look at it from the perspective of you're in the bedroom.
Right.
You want to get to the bathroom, and then who cares if the closet's a few extra steps?
I look at it in terms of it's the middle of the night, which
That's
tends
what I
to
mean.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get to the bathroom as quickly as
yeah.
possible.
So I've seen that. You see that from time to time, and I'm always like, I probably would flip that around.
Right. But does that cost you anything?
No.
Right.
This one, like you said, very big lot, 38,000 square feet, but it drops off pretty
Yeah.
considerably in the rear. And we did have this one had the interesting price change from 1,799 to 1,7985, then back up to 1,799.
Right. Yeah. I
mean,
mean, people
how
do
did
it.
that work?
I don't know. People do it.
All right.
All right. I mean, there was a lot of nitpicking going on for that. I mean, that might set a record right there. I would hate to be Mark Tree,
Or 61 Warren. We haven't gotten to that one yet.
which should also be our big seller, our final listing, our 9th and final sale of the month of
February.
correct. And there you go. Sells for, that's pretty impressive, Ryan. Goes on for
Yeah.
2199. It says 87 days, but it was really less than that. That was
Right.
actually completed.
It was like one completed weekend.
Yeah, more or less. And
Yeah.
it goes for what it's listed for.
Yeah.
A really nicely finished house, obviously large, 6,000 square feet. One thing about this one, you don't see the garage there, and that's because it was attached to the back. So you didn't really have access to the backyard from the house.
Not much of a backyard.
Not much of a backyard, correct.
You're not buying this house because you want a big yard. You're buying this for its in-town location.
Correct, and the space.
Yeah.
The space in an in-town location, right?
Yeah.
But it's listen. We're seeing new numbers. This is becoming a little bit of a potentially a new norm.
Yep.
We see stuff coming on the market now that's over $2 million in a similar location, and so it's gotten to the point where these 10 to 15,000 square foot lots that are close to town, and you're putting on really nice new construction, you're gonna get over $2 million. I mean, that's how it is now. So that's an
Yeah.
example of it, and that went quickly. I mean, potentially, could they have been leaving money on the table going on 2199?
I don't know, because I think it got a good number. It went quickly, but like when I walked through there were a couple things that I was surprised about.
Okay.
First thing, the mudroom was very, very small.
Okay.
Which I just feel like is such a focal point on some of the houses that we're building. This one, it wasn't, and it obviously worked for this buyer, but I feel like if that would have gone on, or if this would have been priced higher, you would have had more people coming in, really scrutinizing things like that.
Okay.
And like for instance, basement's unfinished.
Yep, but
what,
third floor was.
Third floor was. But what that allows you to see is the insulation.
Yes, right.
And
it
I
wasn't
was
sprayed
shocked
everywhere.
to see fiberglass.
Yeah.
I mean, at that price point, I think would expect to see a house that is fully spray foamed. It's the highest and best energy efficient product on the market. That you're paying top dollar. It's just surprising.
Yeah, it's surprising to you, but I mean, obviously they didn't need to put spray foam in there.
No, that's
right?
But that's what I mean. But when you mentioned that maybe they were leaving money on the table,
yeah.
I started.
If it was at 2299,
the more expensive this gets, maybe the more critical people start to become of the building, the construction, that sort of thing. So just a little bit, and there was a lot of textured plaster,
right in the closet.
Which is just these are the little things that you pick up when you're in a luxury high end part of the market, segment of the market. Those are the things that you nitpick on.
Yeah.
But still, I think this is a well-built house, and there's no question. It's very, very elegant. A lot of thought, a lot of design, and it commanded a very nice price.
Yes, it did.
So I think everybody wins here, including the buyer, to some degree.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. We're seeing these trends now. This is what you can expect, I think, in the near term, as far as the value of some of these properties, especially near town.
Okay, gotcha. So that does it. All 9 wrapped up.
All right, it's been good. See you guys later.
Yeah, it's the best 22 minutes.
All right, what else we got? We got something else, right?
We got a market snapshot. We're
All
going
right.
to take a look. Spring market's here, Ryan. Let's get excited. I mean, it's March.
Yeah, it's definitely here.
Or the first few days of April.
Yeah.
There you go. So remember last year this time we were saying 42 was an awfully small number when you talk about inventory. So we're a little bit higher than that, not much. There are a lot of, it's actually, I think as of March 5th, it's 53 listings, but I think like 9 of them were townhouses/condos.
They're really creeping into the single family designation, aren't they?
No question. I know. Well, they're just creeping into to town. I think they're going to see a lot more sales, but we'll get to that in another episode when we have nothing to talk about. Average listing price up $100,000. Single family homes under agreement. I was surprised that it was
that low.
Yeah, I was. I thought it would be at least in line.
There's been very little inventory the last few months.
True. Yeah. So
I think it's encouraging to see that our active single family listings are on pace with last year. Just because the last few months we have seen such little inventory. That number, as of tomorrow, is going to come way down because there was a lot that went on the market this weekend, and there have been a lot of houses to go under already.
That's right.
So we should see that number is going to come down, and
then it'll
homes
pop
under
right back
agreement
up.
will come up.
Well, I was gonna say, and then now it's a very fluid time
so
of year.
it's fully on.
Yeah.
I think the spring market. We're ready to go.
Right.
So gear up.
Yeah. Buckle in. All right. New segment time.
Yep.
You excited?
I am.
This one's called Facebook Fact Check. So everybody knows the Needham Facebook page obviously gets a lot of play in this town. Lots of opinions being expressed. A lot of people coming in there, kind of airing about all things Needham.
It's not always real estate, but real estate does crop in.
It's definitely not always real estate, but what we find is, as is the case with Facebook and many other media outlets sometimes, there are some opinions that sometimes get expressed as fact. And when we see that, we are able to sometimes fact check and double check to make sure things are accurate or not accurate, as may be the case. What are we talking about? Well, on the Needham Facebook page, this quote appeared. You want to read this or you want me to?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Go for it.
What kind of inflection should I use?
I would just
monotonous?
I go level.
Okay.
Don't get too excited.
Okay. This is ridiculous.
No. A little more. No, more. A little more. A little more.
Okay.
Just a little more.
This is ridiculous. By the time I'll be able to put down a down payment on these McMansions,
that might be a little too much.
Don't like that word.
Yeah.
I'll be 85 years old. If there is even any of what I love about Needham left, something must be done. Newton has stopped so many teardowns, and it's looking great. Still affordable-ish.
Okay, so obviously we're not going to fact check all of that because some of it is just somebody expressing how they feel about the situation, and everybody's entitled to their feelings.
Most definitely.
But at the very end, there's a reason that last sentence or two is in bold, and that's because it's stating something as fact that may or may not be true. So, is Newton affordable-ish, Ryan?
Compared to what, Ryan?
I would say compared to Needham.
The answer to that question is no.
Okay, well, how do we know? Well, we do, because we were able to do a little fact checking, and what we found was the average listing price today is the average listing price in Needham is $1.59 million, whereas the average listing price in Newton, Ryan, how about that, is $850,000 higher.
Right.
So would you classify Newton as affordable-ish?
Not with respect to Needham.
Correct. I would agree with that.
Or in any fashion.
Right.
I mean, Newton has definitely taken steps to curtail development for sure.
As has Needham.
But as is Needham, true. And what I will also say though is Newton has a lot. Actually, well, it's much bigger, obviously. But there's a lot. It's very different in terms of the makeup of its architecture and of its homes.
Sure.
You have so many more of these Victorian era, or these Victorian style homes that I think people were really making a push to preserve.
Right.
Right.
And it's a much bigger town anyway.
Yeah.
It's just the character of it has always been much different than Needham.
Right. So whereas Needham has a lot of the the post-war construction homes that I think people don't necessarily have the same feelings about as far as preservation goes. Some do. I'm not speaking for everybody. But it's a totally different town.
Yeah.
And it's almost $1 million more to live there than it is to live here.
Right. So and then so kind of keeping with this theme, because I knew just doing those 2 slides alone wouldn't get us home.
Or would rile me up.
I decided just to take it one step further, and I think the theme that usually
we decided to take it one step.
Of course.
Sorry.
Of course.
Continue.
So, I apologize. We, Ryan and I, decided to take it one step further because there are a lot of people who definitely feel as though, Ryan, that the what's the word?
Culture,
the culture,
community.
all those words of Needham has been changing due to all the new construction, and that the town isn't exactly what it once was. And they like to look to other towns to say, why is Needham changing? I don't like how Needham is changing. And so once we saw, that Newton was also changing, we're saying, well, wait, maybe it's not just a Needham thing. Maybe it's just a thing. Maybe just towns are changing, and that's just kind of how it is. So what we did is took 4 towns that abut Needham and decided to say, okay, let's look at these 5 towns, Needham included, and see how much the average sales price has increased from 2012 to 2017. It's a 5-year increase in average sales price in the town. So if we take a look at that, you can see that the average sales price has gone up pretty consistently across the board. Now, this is according to MLS sales, Ryan.
Yep.
So there are certainly some sales that went under the radar and are not counted, but I would say this is probably extremely representative and extremely close, with a margin probably plus or minus 2%. So I think when people say Needham is changing, I don't like what Needham is becoming, I think you can take the word Needham out if you want, and you can put in any town. It's just the fact that things are changing. And when I say that they're changing, what I mean is property values are increasing.
Yeah, you're right, Rob. It's the evolution of this area. As the
Northeast.
Of the Northeast, but even just Metro Boston. As the nature of most of the jobs have become more tech related, more financial services related, it's brought in a different class of workers. So and they're paying more to live close to the city and to have all of the amenities that this town is so proudly boasting.
Right.
Think back to we talk about the post-war era a little earlier in the show. Think about what the landscape of Needham was like in 1935, 1940, and then what it was like in 1950s and 60s when so many of the homes that exist today were built. And those are the homes that we're talking about now, and a lot of the conversations about redevelopment. And it's just so, I think it's just the cycle that the towns go through as they evolve and they, and they go from one generation to another. And it really won't suit everybody. The other part is that the people that are coming in, and a lot of these new construction homeowners, how do they feel when they hear so much generalization dumped on about them and about how they're changing the community for the worse.
Yep.
So I think there's maybe some sensitivity to that could be upped a little bit.
Well, if people want to continue the dialogue with us, Ryan, how would they get a hold of us?
That's easy, Rob. They can call us at 781-707-6564. They can email us at rob.ryan@hawthornre.com. And I think they should, you can always follow us on Twitter. A lot of interesting things coming out there on a regular basis. That is at Hawthorn_WMHW.
And for whatever reason you want to reach out to us, we are always available for you. Thanks again for joining us for this special edition of What's My House Worth. We'll see you again real soon.